Hello everyone, Andre Ziebart coming to you from ADZiebart.com to speak about the history and principles of Neuro Linguistic Programming, or NLP. A little historical background. In the early 70s, a psychology student at the University of California, Richard Bandler, he met and befriended an associate professor of linguistics there named John Grinder. Soon Bandler and Grinder began to work together to develop a syntax for language which could help a person overcome internal problems. They analyzed writings, tape recordings from famous therapists, and how they achieved results. The result of this research was the science of Neuro Linguistic Programming, also known as NLP. They identified and labeled patterns of communication that successfully created change in others. These techniques became used by sales professionals, therapists, and others who wanted to become influencers in one way or another. There are several core principles behind NLP. Number one is that we perceive information quickly without even realizing that we're doing it. The unconscious mind is constantly processing at a far greater rate than our subconscious mind, rather our conscious mind. Our conscious minds seem to put roadblocks, distortions, and confusion in the way of how information is gathered and processed. Number two is the premise that we can influence our own subconscious mind, since much of the daily processing in our lives is done on autopilot. We breathe, we cough, we yawn, and other things. Even though sometimes your conscious mind will step in and say something like, breathe deeply. This becomes an example of how your conscious mind can override your subconscious mind. The third premise tells us we can influence the unconscious thoughts of others. It is possible to ease conscious resistance in others by using our own words effectively to them. There's a funny story I heard when I was younger, which gave a golden example of this. So a man comes into town one day and he's promising them, hey, I'm going to give you a machine and it's going to make gold for you. He demonstrates its use and everyone was satisfied that it was a legitimate machine. So they paid his asking fee and then he runs through training and how it's used. Upon completion, as he is about to leave, he says, oh, I almost forgot. Never, ever, ever think about the pink monkey while operating the machine, or the machine will not work properly. Now this demonstrates the basic premise of positive intent. People process messages for positive better than negative. So the unconscious mind throws out the negative part of the message and you will think about the pink monkey. It's almost like a command. Think about the pink monkey. And because he said the machine's not going to work, he got himself off the hook. Another example of this I was exposed to was when you have young children and you tell them, don't run with scissors. Has this ever turned out the way you wanted it to? It wasn't that your children were being disobedient, but their unconscious brain threw out the don't and went with the positive intent of run with scissors. The last basic premise dictates that a behavior will occur after your mental activity already happened, which means your unconscious has the behavior in motion before you have actually made a conscious decision. In practical terms, many of us call this a knee-jerk reaction. This is the reason why many people will come up with some really outlandish rationalizations for their behaviors. But the real reasons are more often than not triggered by your subconscious. Sometimes people will make a conscious plan of action, but most of the time the behavior is driven by your unconscious processes. This is how it is possible for others to influence behavior by using effective communication. In the science of NLP, it's been identified that a set of techniques that can consistently influence our own thinking and impress the thinking of others. So long as you use it with integrity and a conscious professionalism, it can be a powerful tool to help your efforts in life. This has been a public service announcement from ADZiebart.com. Follow us for more information from the Handbook of Life.